Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of the City Manager Update. I'm Roxanne Lerma. We're joined today by our City Manager, Mr. Randy Perez. Randy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Roxanne.
So today's hot topic of the day, we're talking drainage, which is a huge topic here in the City of Mission. So what are some of the latest developments that we want to share with our residents about that?
Sure. So, I'll be going through a lot of information because we have a lot of drainage projects that we're currently working on. Some have been contracted out and some have been done in-house with our own employees. And so we'll be going through a lot of details about these particular projects because I want everyone to be aware of the details of how much is being invested in these drainage projects. The mayor and the city council have obviously thought that drainage is a very top priority. And so we have invested $20 million in 7 projects that I want to go into detail.
Okay, so let's walk it back a little bit for our citizens. How did we kind of focus this funding on that? And how did we select these 7 as our top priority?
We did a comprehensive study, a drainage study, and so that identified about 70 projects throughout the city, some major, some minor, some that we can do in-house. And I say in-house is we're with our own staff and not necessarily subcontracted out. And so we looked at the top priority. Our consultant engineer prioritized the projects. And so we looked at the projects that had the most concern.
So we talk about it almost at every city council meeting. You guys are really fast tracking it and really making these the focus for our city. So this is something that we're working on really quickly.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us about them?
Yes, we're looking at right now they're on the design phase of this project, all 7 projects. So we're doing all 7 projects at the same time. So that's very unheard of.
Oh, at the same time. Okay.
Yes, it's unheard of because we want to start all 7 projects to impact the community as soon as we can, right? And so we want to, as soon as we finish the design phase from the engineers, we'll put it out for bids and receive those bids, put those construction start the construction of these projects. And so, very fast track on that where, we're pushing our consultant engineers to try and speed up the planning process so we can start construction because we want to see, shovels on the ground. We want to see, replacement of pipes and drainage pipes and so forth. So that's what we're working on. Yeah,
it's really been, there's been a lot of focus. I mean, a lot of, pinpointing, let's get this done quickly. So let's kind of walk everybody through those 7 projects, where they're at, what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. But just a quick summary, we're looking at STEWART project, ELM project, and these are street names.
Okay.
Esperanza, Gabriel, Leandro, GLASSCOCK, TULIP, and Brian. And so those are the list of projects that we're undertaking. Obviously, those were the projects that were identified as top priority. And so the STEWART project, we're estimating about $2.2 million that we're investing in this particular project. And this project is the area of just south of 495. And so it actually, south of 495 and north to 495 to the Mission lateral. So what we're doing there is an area that we have concerns in that area. So we're upgrading the drainage pipes in that area to include within the subdivision, which is 21st and a half, Terrace, and those Merlin, those particular streets. And so if you're familiar with that area, just north of 495, all the way to the Edinburg main canal, which is the irrigation canal.
So it is going to cross Griffin Parkway over.
Yeah. So one of the things that the city, was the mayor and the council was able to approve is to acquire some property in that area, and so we're able to acquire approximately over 4 acres of property just north of 495 next to the church that's there on 495.
For the detention pond, yeah.
And so one of the main components, because this project in particular in STEWART will take some time to develop and construct, But in the meantime, what we're working on in-house, and I say in-house is our own staff, is the 4 acres that we purchased, we're creating a detention pond. And what that does, the detention pond will be secured. It's along Stewart Road, next parallel to our ditch. And so what that does is allows the water to flow into the ditch and hold it in the detention pond and slowly flow into the ditch.
That'll slowly recede out.
Yes. So that's the Stewart project. Again, that's one of the main projects that we're working on. That's one of the areas with the most concern. So that's our first project that we're looking at.
If you live in Mission, I mean, we know when there's heavy downpours that Stewart is an issue area. So the residents have to be overjoyed that this is happening.
Yes, and we just ask that they're patient with us, because these projects do take some time, unfortunately, but we are working, and that's the important part.
Yeah, we're making progress.
Yes, and we're making progress on this particular project that would alleviate that area. And so in the meantime, that detention pond would definitely help while we construct the improvements on Stewart Road. So that's the idea, is to continue working on that.
Okay, next one?
Yes, so the next one we're looking at Elm, and then this is Elm is approximately about $1.3 million. And this is the area between Bryan and Stewart. Again, same general area. Stewart is this area will impact the area of School Lane, Elm on Stewart,
right.
Also to Bryan Road. And so we're upgrading drainage pipes there as well. That would alleviate that area as well, and alleviate Stewart going south. And so Stewart has drainage that goes half of Stewart between 495 and Business 83. Half of it goes south and half of it goes north.
Right.
And so the southern portion would be alleviated by this improvement on Elm, and also to connect into School Lanes in this particular project.
Yeah, it's going to be a drainage facelift for that entire area then. Okay,
yes.
good.
Another area that we looked at that, again, heavy downpours, we get, we're constantly working with that area is the Inspiration area just north of 495. This is a larger project, because this project will go all the way to approximately about 1.5 mile line, which is just north of 495, to almost 3 mile line. It's approximately about $5.7 million on this particular project.
Remind me, what is the name of this subdivision?
This is El Valle subdivision.
El Valle, okay.
Yeah, so all this area will assist these next couple of projects will assist the El Valle subdivision north all the way to 3 mile line on Inspiration. We have grown a lot in that area north of 495, and so we're increasing size in the pipe. So currently right now, for example, a pipe is 24 inches. Well, we're increasing that to 36 or 42. It just depends on the specific project, the area. These are all engineered, so all the engineers are looking at the capacity that the area needs. And so that's what we're looking at. I mean, obviously we're going based on their recommendation. This is one of the largest improvements that we're doing, because it'll feed into the subdivisions that are adjacent to it on the east and west. So this is definitely a beneficial project for this particular area.
The folks there have been, very vocal about wanting our assistance, and so I guess this is just a good time to we're listening. I mean, we are listening to what they're saying. Yes,
and absolutely, and we've had several community meetings with them within their subdivision, and so we've placed temporary pumps out there on occasions that when are needed, basically to help pump out the water from the streets, not necessarily from their homes. So that's something that we're constantly monitoring in that area. So the next one is Gabriel. So Gabriel is south of the Mission Lateral, in the same vicinity of Inspiration as well.
Okay.
This one is directly impacting El Valle subdivision. This is going into the subdivision itself and upsizing the drainage pipes capacity in this
inside the actual subdivision.
Yes.
Okay.
And so this one is approximately a $1.9 million project. So we're looking south of the Mission Lateral, north of the Mission Lateral for all this Inspiration Road. One of the things that we're working in this one, and recently it was announced, we've been partnering up with Precinct 3 Commissioner Villarreal in working together on drainage projects, because we share areas within the county. Was able to acquire 4 acres adjacent to the Mission Lateral that would directly benefit this particular subdivision. And so again, they're building another detention pond like we are on Stewart, while the phase 3 of the lateral is expanded in that area. Well, in the meantime, they're going to be creating this detention pond. The detention pond will be completed a lot sooner, and so that would be alleviating, because we, as the City of Mission, will be connecting the El Valle subdivision to this detention pond. It will benefit El Valle subdivision tremendously for that, and the surrounding areas, but specifically that area that's adjacent to this particular drainage ditch.
So we're looking at like long-term drainage improvements, but at the same time, there's definitely a sense of urgency, because the residents need assistance from us, and these are kind of like a temporary fix too.
Yes, I mean, they're temporary in the sense where they could be done a lot faster.
Right.
But part of the engineering plans that the Drainage District, and they recommend having detention areas throughout our city, because what that does is that helps the main ditch to be able to hold water and slowly go into the ditch, where instead of everything going into the ditch all at once, right? And so that's part of the plans, and that's part of us also looking at property throughout the city for that particular purpose.
Okay.
The next project also within the same area is Leandro, and this is also just north of the lateral. Again, we're looking at inspiration as well. So we're looking at Leandro, Esperanza, and Gabriel, all in the same vicinity of north of 495 on Inspiration.
A lot of improvements in that area.
Yes, so this is an additional $1.6 million project. All these projects, again, upsizing drainage pipes to increase capacity. The ultimate goal is to drain our streets efficiently, rapidly, to be able to put them into these detention ponds, and then also our drainage ditches.
Okay.
The next one, we shift to the other part of the quadrant of the city, and we're looking at the GLASSCOCK area. The GLASSCOCK area, this is also north of Business 83 to 495, just north of 495 as well. So we're calling this the TULIP and GLASSCOCK project, because they're interconnecting. It's along GLASSCOCK north and north of 495. And TULIP is in just north of 495, and so
I'm trying to picture where you're at. Okay, north of 495.
Yeah, so if you can,
gotcha.
if you can picture where John H. SHARY School is, that vicinity from that area going south of 495, and so we're looking at the TULIP project was approximately about $1.6 million.
Okay.
And then the GLASSCOCK is an additional $2.2 million.
So that's a big project.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So again, these projects would benefit the area. We get concerns as well along the GLASSCOCK area. We have done some improvements in our own ditches in that area that connects from GLASSCOCK to SHARY. Also in this particular quadrant is Bryan Road. If you travel Bryan Road from Business 83 to 495, it's somewhat bumpy, but so what we're doing there, what we're planning is a total reconstruction of Bryan Road.
This is exciting, Randy, because I mean we hear it. I hear it on social media. I know you get the calls about it as well. So this is a big one for us.
Yes. So one of the things that Bryan Road is a TxDOT highway from the expressway north to Business 83. From Business 83 to 495, or from Business 83 north is a City of Mission roadway. And so one of the things that we're doing for Bryan, aside from drainage improvements, because we get a collection of water in the Elm and the Ash area and further down, and this would also connect on the Elm as well. But one of the things that we're doing is expanding Bryan Road, a reconstruction of the roadway, drainage improvements to connect, increased capacity of drainage, but also what we're proposing is installing sidewalks on both sides of the road.
That is awesome, especially since we have Bryan Elementary right there too.
Yeah, so we want to accommodate the schools as well, but also to make it a way for our citizens to either walk or exercise along Bryan Road. We see that on Stewart, we see that on SHARY, we see that on Mayberry. So that's the goal, is to continue that trend, is to provide sidewalks in those areas.
Love that.
Again, it would be a total reconstruction. I mean, we're looking at approximately $2.5 million. Again, that would be from 495 to Business 83.
And that is super exciting. So street and drainage on Bryan.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
We're hoping that we're under construction in the next couple months for this project. And I say couple, we're looking at probably summertime for this particular list of projects. And we're looking at 7.
To actually launch construction.
Yeah, so we're looking at all 7 projects. And
simultaneously.
Again, yes, and so that'll be an undertaking for all of us to one, be patient, because we all know that how inconvenient it could be for construction sites, because we will be coordinating road closures and so forth, and lane closures and things like that. And so once we get into the construction phase, we will be advising the citizens about closures or any type of lane closures or any type of construction, so that way everybody can plan accordingly. And so we have a number of ditches throughout our city. We're looking at that we have done is approximately about 14 so far, and we continue doing improvements on this. And I'll go just briefly go through them. The Somerset ditch, the Stonegate ditch, the Tierra Grande ditch, Lopez Street, Melba Carter ditch, ERMA drainage project, Rene Avenue drainage improvements, the Hacienda Sherry Garden detention pond, La Cotilla drainage ditch, LEAL subdivision drainage improvements, LEAL subdivision detention pond, the Edinburg Canal drain ditch expansion, the Stewart detention pond, and the Oakland pond.
I've lived here my whole life and I didn't know we had that much.
Yeah, so we have, again, these are all, they serve the same purpose. Again, we have these detention ponds throughout our city to hold water. And again, for the same purpose, to hold it and then slowly go into our ditch, because we definitely don't want to put over capacity on the ditch, and so that's the purpose. Other 2 projects that I'll go over as well is the 2 projects that we're working in partnership with the Drainage District and the county. One is the Pettisville Drain. This is on South Mission in the Schubach area. This would also benefit Tierra Dorada, that subdivision as well. So what we're doing there is we're expanding the Pettisville Drain that actually connects to the Mission Inlet. So we have the Mission Inlet on the south, and we have the Mission Lateral on the north. And those are the 2 main ditches that take the water that flow to the east. All the water goes from west to east on our main ditches. And so we receive water from our neighboring cities to the west.
Right, to the west, and then it
flows through us. And so those are the things that we're working on to help. Every city is doing their own improvements, and of course we want to do our own improvements to be able to alleviate those ditches from the capacity. And the other that I'll go into as well is the Mission Lateral. This was a very, very important project, not only for us, the City of Mission, but the Drainage District, because the ditch belongs to the county. It's a Drainage District ditch. And we call it the Mission Lateral because it's the portion of Mission. Now, this particular ditch is going to be widened and has been widened already. So it goes from Benson Drive in McAllen, goes west to Benson Palm Drive in
Benson to Benson, okay.
Yes, correct. And so it goes west to Benson Palm, and it'll get expanded 3 times as large. And if you can picture 50 feet wide is our current size of it, Well, it's going to expand to 160 feet, so 3 times as much.
But that expansion's already started, right?
Yeah, so it's this project was again it's a drainage district county project partnership with us because we're assisting in what we can with this particular project. It's 3 phases: phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 is from Benson Drive in McAllen to GLASSCOCK Road.
Okay.
That section has already been expanded to 160 feet. That's already been completed. We've seen already the improvements that have done. We already seen the impact of how it has assisted us in alleviating the water from the streets to go into the drainage. And so phase 2 was from GLASSCOCK to Conway. That section has already been completed. Again, 160 feet wide, triple the capacity of water. And so a great benefit for our citizens. The phase 3 has started from Conway to Benson Road, Benson Palm. And so they're about 15% in that phase.
That's why we had the groundbreaking for the phase 3?
Yes.
Okay.
So they already started from Conway west, and they're in the Holland area currently, going into the between Holland and Los Ébanos. And so we're excited because all that area will be impacted with this expansion. So I'll go over the projects that we've done in-house, and we'll show you illustrations of what we've done. The first one was our ERMA drainage project, and this is the La Cuchilla area. We installed drainage that it's the area of 1 mile south of Los Ébanos going south. So we improved that area. We added drainage capacity in that area, so that would definitely improve that area. That was done as a City of Mission project.
Okay.
That was approximately about $500,000 for that particular project.
And that was all in-house?
Yes.
Okay.
So the next one we looked at is this is the LEAL subdivision drainage improvement. If you can visualize the Conway Expressway area.
Yeah.
North of that, you have Guadalupe, Leal, those streets. What we did there is we created a drainage detention site, and so it didn't have one before. What we did is we graded the alleys and the streets, so now it flows into a long detention pond that connects to 2 other detention ponds that we have just west of that.
That has to be a huge impact in that area.
Yeah, so we saw the difference in the rain events that we experienced right after the construction of this. So it runs along the irrigation canal. Again, we basically dug up a detention pond, and the water flows in there. Get it out of our streets, flows in there, and then from there it goes into our larger detention ponds.
Okay, good. It's doing what it's supposed to do.
The other one we did was we expanded, and these projects either we created a detention pond or we expanded capacity, and by expanding is we either dug it wider or dug it deeper to be able to hold more water.
Okay.
This one is Hacienda SHARY Gardens. This is the area on 495 east of Stewart, north of 495. There's a detention pond back there behind the subdivision that we improved and made larger.
Okay.
So it has additional capacity. It'll alleviate water from the streets. It'll help all that area all the way to GLASSCOCK in that area. So this is the Hacienda SHARY Gardens detention pond. We called it the widening project.
Okay.
The other area that we worked on is LOPEZ Street. LOPEZ Street is located in Madero. Madero, we had an area there that we upgraded a drainage pipe in that area. That would help. It's the Bougainvillea, the Cando Munguia, all that area, the LOPEZ Street, Garza, East Cueva Street, all that area will be impacted by this additional drainage. And so we want to look at all the different quadrants of the city to be able to address concerns, and so to distribute them throughout, because we want to make an impact throughout our city.
It feels like we did blanket the city, and there's improvements going on all over the place, which is good.
Yes, correct. And so one of the things that we're looking at as well is city-owned properties that we have throughout that we can create detention ponds. And again, detention ponds that we can create parks, whether it's soccer fields and things like that, where if we can put some goals out there, kids can use it because grass will grow on it.
Right.
We can create parks out of them. And so we're looking at different areas throughout the city. We do have some property in the Dunlop, Guadalupe, Leal area that I covered earlier, that we will be looking at additional detention pond in that area as well. So that's another project. The Edinburg Canal, what we refer to the Edinburg Canal drain ditch expansion, is we have a section that runs between Glasscock and Stewart that connects to our Mission Lateral. And we see subdivisions going up off of Glasscock. We have to account for that growth within our drainage system. And so we expanded the ditch with the partners of the developers to expand the Glasscock ditch that runs north and south. So if you can picture between Stewart and Glasscock, there's a ditch that runs north and south,
right,
adjacent to the subdivision. So that got expanded to accommodate the additional growth, and then also to increase capacity for that. So that's another ditch that we helped create a capacity for.
So we have a lot of big drainage improvements that we're fixing to kick off, but we've also been working on a whole slew of smaller ones too.
Yes, and that's the that's the intent, to alleviate water from our streets, and that's why we're creating and adding capacity to our drainage ditch. Not only are we expanding our ditches, but also doing constant maintenance on them, because right, we know that vegetation grows on these ditches, because it's a natural ditch, and so we go out there and we excavate those to make sure that they're clean and the flow is constant if it's needed. And so we don't want anything to restrict the water. So we're constantly maintaining our ditches for that purpose.
Our residents can help with that as well, right?
Yes, absolutely, especially if they're if they're adjacent to a ditch.
Yeah.
If any low maintenance that would help, whether it's overgrown grass or some weeds or things like that, because that will prevent water from flowing faster.
Yeah, that ends up in our ditches.
Yes, and so that would definitely help. And anything that they can do, especially if they're adjacent to a ditch.
Okay.
One of our I shared earlier the detention that we acquired, the property about 4 acres off of Stewart, and so that's an ongoing. This will be a major detention area that again will be fenced up for protection, because we are looking at capacity for that whole area north of 485 on Stewart. So that's a major project for us, because we have been working on it for some time, because the digging, excavating does take some time, and again we're doing it with our own employees
to be an in-house project.
to be efficient for that. Another detention pond that we excavated recently and increased capacity was the OAKLAND detention pond, and this is the area north of 2 Mile Line on Glasscock. This area would benefit the area from 2 Mile Line to our city limits on the Glasscock area. So those subdivisions are connected to this pond, eventually drain into the Mission Lateral. So we added capacity, excavated it, and to basically alleviate water from them. And so this is the project that we already completed. Again, worked on it with our own staff, and so they've been very instrumental in this. And I want to take the time to thank staff that we get to a project and we go get the instruction of the direction of the project, and the staff goes and works as hard as they can to finish, because they know how critical it is to complete these projects in a timely manner. Especially, we right before our hurricane season, we want to make sure that all these ditches are maintained, clean, excavated, and so that's the goal. And so I want to thank staff for the hard work that they've done, because we've done quite a few improvements throughout our city.
Yeah, we clearly have.
And so it's difficult to visualize the improvement if you don't have the before and after, or if you don't see the improvement itself, whether it's in pictures or in person. So we'll share that, so we can share that with the public.
I mean, I'm sure that this is really interesting and enlightening for residents. I work here, and I didn't know how much had been done and how much is being done moving forward. So there's a lot of exciting improvements.
Yes, and so again, this is just one area that we're looking at. And that's the purpose of this, right? Is we want to share this information with the public. We want to, utilize this information to share, all the details that we have, because again, this is for us is work behind the scenes.
Right.
But we want to make the public aware of things that we're doing, because again, every day our goal is to continually improve our city, to continually progress. We want our city to grow. We want our city to be safe. We want our city to be, dry from any flooding. And so that's our primary goal, is to continue that.
Right. So moving forward, I mean, our goal is always to alleviate flooding for our residents. But I know that folks at home that are watching our Mission Cable channel, that what they're going to ask next is going to be, okay, when is this happening? So can you give us like a loose timeline? You said, maybe construction in summer, but what are we looking at long term?
Like I mentioned, these are long-term projects.
Yeah.
Construction would we can start in the summer, and again, we want to be aggressive with this timeline. We want to try and push our contractors as soon as we start construction to try and take care of this. But we know that construction takes time. So we're looking at 6 to 8 months the most.
Okay.
In construction, depending on the size. Each project is unique and different in the size, because some require more, some require less, and so each of them are in different timelines, but more or less that's what we're looking at.
I mean, God willing, a year from now, we're going to be looking back and saying, we did all these improvements in the last year or so. I mean, there are a lot of things that we're working on. Yes,
it might seem like a long time, right? And we understand hurricane season, comes and goes and then comes again. But that's why we're doing the improvements on the detention areas. The Mission lateral expansion is huge. I mean, that would be, phase 3 should be completed before we start construction, or at the construction phase. And so that's their own timeline. However, we're constantly in communication with the county to see if, we want to expedite, these projects, right? And so that would alleviate a lot of it. And so part of the drainage study is the detention part of it, right? And the other part is the capacity. And so we're looking at our own is flowing with increasing the capacity of our drainage pipes, but at the end of the day, it falls into the lateral, which is 160 feet wide now, that can hold a lot of water. And so that has helped. We've already seen phase 1, phase 2, the impact that it does on those areas, and so we're excited about phase 3. And so again, we're continuing working on those, but again, not to say that we're not going to continue, because we do have other city-owned properties that we're working on detention facilities as well. And so we continue doing that. And so we'll provide an update later on those additional detention facilities that we've created. But more importantly, know and assure the public that we're continually working on issues that we feel are very critical to our community.
I mean, it's always a work in progress for us. Randy, thank you so much. You shared a whole lot of insight, a lot of information for our residents to digest. Luckily, it runs over and over on our cable channel, so they'll be able to, really get a feel for all the drainage improvements that are happening. And for the folks at home, progress takes patience, so we ask for a little patience, a lot of exciting things. I can't wait for Bryan Road. For the City of Mission, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Roxanne Lerma.